tell you what, we're having so much fun here live in the studios today. Rip Rogers is even excited today. You've talked more today in this interview, Rip, than you've talked our last 15 interviews all together.
Well, I'm just listening to Dr. Tom because he was like my boss in OVW and was funnier than shit. Here they have me fucking.
Let's see if he's on here. Sorry to cut you off.
Yeah.
Can you hear us, Dr. Tom?
Well, now I can. I couldn't
Okay.
hear you from. All right, there we go. Got you.
Okay, so Dr. Tom was my boss, so he'd come down, but their office, they never told me not one thing to do. So
Well, that was. Let me just stop you there real quick and tell you why. They actually, I say they, because I was supposed to be over it, and JR never really told me what they wanted. So JR and Cornette had a great relationship, obviously, and Jimmy had laid it out what he wanted to do. So that was the reason. Thank God, at that time when JR was in charge, he let everything run the way it was running because you're getting talent out there. Then the changes started happening, and it was a change felt by everybody in the sense that, look, this is my vision, and this is Vince's vision. Well, no, Vince left the vision to JR and talent relations and let him do his deal. And then JR moved to whatever he moved on to, or either got fired or whatever it was, and then he got another guy in there, and now they think they have to direct and have to give you the directions. I equate it to Washington, D.C. running the war in Vietnam. You don't have any idea what it's like on the ground. You don't know the landscape. You're not there on a daily basis. Let these guys do what they do best. Let it happen, and you'll see what happens. Proof was in the pudding. Proof was in the results, and you guys turned out great results. Dude, when I went down, I watched the class first time. I want to say I was blown away, but it's not that at all. It wasn't that I was blown away. It was I was over. It was, in fact, under promised, over delivered is how I looked at it. So, okay, we're doing a great job down here, but it wasn't just a great job. It was a spectacular job because I saw the vibe. I heard the feedback. So it was one of those things that going to, in the first building, Davis Arena, that dilapidated warehouse, you had to love this business to want to go there. Even these guys like Shelton and Brock and Batista, Messina, they went to this shithole. It really was just a broken out building and cold in the wintertime, hot in the summertime. If you didn't love this business, you weren't going to last. And that put you through it. That's what I thought you had to go through as well. Man, don't give them the shiny, nice, glitzy, sterile building right off the bat. See if they can live in the dirt and the grime and appreciate what they have. Have a little more, be more grateful for being there. And as Rip said earlier, it's a privilege to be in this business. It's a privilege to do what you want to do. And what guys like Rip actually went through, going up and down the roads, having to eat, having to eat whatever they could eat, staying in the great shape they did, the sacrifices. And when you give them just right off the bat, you give someone a clean, beautiful, sterile, new arena, new building, whatever it is, and the locker, your own locker with your name on it and all that stuff. No, man. You bring your gym bag, you sit it down by the chair, you get in the ring, you start working. And that I built, I thought, for a couple of reasons: building character and building appreciation. And once you get past that, then you get to go to the major leagues, and that is a philosophy I adhered to, and I think JR did too, and I know that all those guys in OVW did too. And that's why I thought it was one of the best developmental systems they had at that time, because it was a cohesive unit. And Danny, Rip, and Jimmy all worked well together. You could see it when you were there. You understood they took it seriously, but at the same time, people enjoyed it when they were there. They enjoyed the training. They enjoyed, not always getting yelled at, but I yell too. We all yell. If you don't yell, I don't think you're passionate. my opinion. If you're just going to go, oh no, it's okay. You go right ahead and move on. Oh, that was wonderful, John. I think it was great. No, no, just because you landed on your head doesn't mean you're a failure. It's okay. Go ahead. I'm not going to show you how to do it right. I'm not going to tell you how to do it right. You just go ahead. No, and that's not how it was. No, what the hell are you doing? Let me show you. You da ba ba and you da ba da and you ba ba ba. And I hate when people do that, but at the same time, it made sense because you go sabada, burn of sands. Nobody understands what that is these days. And nobody understands how to make that connection, how to, again, I'm not everybody's cup of tea. Rip's not everybody's cup of tea. Jim Cornette certainly isn't everybody's cup of tea. But that's okay because we're not only serving just one flavor. It's different. And without that difference, you get cookie cutter, in my opinion. So you have the guys, and Rip was giving guys an opportunity to be unique, and he would see the uniqueness in them, be able to spot it, and that's what a good coach does too. I don't want to run live events. Rip would run live events, and also be able to watch talent in that environment, and be able to pick out things that I wouldn't see. Then I would pick out things that maybe somebody else wouldn't see. But it's all wrestling. It's all ice cream. It's just different flavors and different ways of doing it. And if you get guys who go up there doing it, no, we're doing it just this way. Well, then where's your creative freedom? Where's your ability to create anything new or different anyway?
Yeah, when you came down to OVW a couple times and trained, and you gave us the ice cream analogy. I was actually in your class for a few times, and that's the first time I heard the ice cream analogy. You said it back then 20 years ago, so I think that's definitely awesome. And then on Rip's side, we have former OVW people on here all the time, and it's always Rip's thing was get the fuck out of the ring. So he was famous for that. So we always ask people when they come on here, did you ever get the fuck out of the ring from Rip? And that always brings up some good stories on here.
Well, yeah, but at the same time, it was get out so you could pay attention. Please pay attention, because obviously you weren't paying attention before. So get out, watch, retain it, and get back in. So we're not kicking you out of the pool forever. But at the same time, I always say this in our classes. Guys, I want you paying attention. I don't care if you talk at ringside. If you get in here and you mess up, then I care. But pay attention, because by the time we get done with the ninth person or the eighth person in class, and we have 10 people, those last two guys better do it pretty damn perfectly, because we've already been through it. We critiqued everybody else. If you were paying attention, then you understand. You'll step this way with your left foot, and you're bringing your right arm around this way and putting your left arm over here. And if you're not, it's telling me you're not paying attention. So, right. Yeah.
So being Rip's boss, I mean, you gotta have some kind of story, some kind of dirt, surely a complaint, something. You got
a lot of complaints.
Yeah. No. Yeah. No. No. Once again, I do come from the old school, but Rip's even ahead of me on that. Rip was working with Randy Savage and his dad and his family, when Savage was still one of the best performers, best workers in the business, and couldn't get booked. Persona non grata. Why? So he comes from that, seeing how those guys struggled, seeing how those guys made a business work, listening to the wisdom and the stories of all those guys. So my affection for Rip and my affection for old school guys in Rip's class and in Rip's mindset, I always believed, without any of the rain and the thunder and the lightning, you got to stand some rain if you want a rainbow. I wrote a song, but it's true. If you've never gone through hard times, then you don't know what it's like to struggle. And not only in wrestling, but in life, there's struggles, and it's going to either take you through, or if you can't stand the struggle here with a guy like Rip on your back, then what's going to prepare you for the outside world that's even colder and more harsh? That's the way I looked at it. I know, look, my first year in the business, I'll never forget it. It was in Fresno, California. I had a tag match against Johnny Mantell and Ron Starr. Ron put me in a headlock, bent my left ear down, and squeezed as hard as he could and wrenched it and wrenched it. Got to the back, my ear was blown up. They say, "Oh, you got to take a razor blade in the shower and lance it." Went in the shower, they took a razor blade, they lanced it. I'm 20 years old. I'm like 3 months in the business, but these are the old timers. These are the guys who are going to lead me. Next night, he does the same thing, only in a head scissor. He and Johnny Mantell, again, they're working over the ear. It's blown up again. Okay. Well, they got to lance it again. Third night, they do it again. I don't let them lance it again. I go to the doctor the next day. I got a cauliflower ear my first year in the business. Nobody gets cauliflower ears these days. Nobody got cauliflower ears when I broke in. Yeah. But they did this intentionally to see if I was going to whine, complain. Yeah, they're going to say, "Well, oh, my ear." No. To me, you could do whatever you wanted. John Tolis would beat the holy hell out of me. He would work with me. He was a very nice man. He was great. But when he hit me, I believe, as hard as he could, just to see if I was going to whine and complain. And Victor Rivera, another thing. Nobody wore knee pads back then. He took me down, put me in the it was tied up my legs and says, now, scoot. Stayed with me, gave me Matt Burns on my knees. Now, people would say, "Well, I didn't get him, punch him in the nose." No, I'm going to show him I'll follow your direction. You're the veteran. You're the guy leading me here. I get it. Some guys, Al Madrill was horrible. You ever know Al? Rip?
Just he was in Portland after I was, okay. And I just heard the stories.
Right. Well, I didn't know Al that well. Obviously, they put us together as a team. He was 30 years old. I'm 20, and what a bitter guy. Just a bitter guy. And I thought, okay, well, okay, something I got to deal with too. But then I later learned why he was bitter, what he'd gone through in life and things like that. But that doesn't matter. He was treating me like a turd. And I thought, okay, but I took all these experiences and now I apply them to when I'm coaching or when somebody's coming up. And I don't always do a great job at it. I fall short all the time, man. I'm trying to give encouragement to some of these guys, and it just, my mind takes me somewhere else because I get frustrated when I'm trying to explain. I want you to succeed, but you've got to understand you can't keep doing what you're doing and expect something different. You do the same old thing all the time. You're going to get the same old thing all the time. So, but my experiences in LA, I had some great experiences, but at the same time, there were guys who took advantage of me. There were, honestly, I get it now. I got it then, but I was bound and determined because I wasn't a big guy and it was a big man's business. And if I whined, "You're too small for this," we just proved you right. Just proved everybody right. "Hey, you're too small. You can't take it, kid." "What are you bitching about?" "Oh, some Matt Burns. I had Matt Burns every day, kid." "Hey, you got a cauliflower ear? Look at my ears, kid." Yeah. Okay, I get it. You want to prove it? Prove it. But I wanted this more than anything in the world, man. It wasn't about the money. It was about going out, living the lifestyle. It was about going out, doing this. I was intrigued. I was engulfed. It overtook me. Every waking moment was about wrestling, everything. And I didn't care about going to Madison Square Garden once I got to the point where it's like, dude, just let me wrestle, like you said, in a parking lot, a school, wherever it was. I don't care. Just let me do my thing. And but of course, time changed and things happened. So
obviously you made it and you had a great career. You've had a great career. You wrestled, trained, WWF, everything you could possibly really probably think of. So now look back on it. I mean, like, is it all sunk in yet? I mean, how do you look back at your career and your life, I guess, because your
You know
life
what?
is wrestling.
I have some regrets. We all have regrets, I think. We all have some stuff we wish we wouldn't have done. I certainly do. But overall, man, Rip said it best. I'm living my dream. I still live my dream. I met, okay, I was married once before, and that's part of the big reason. But I met my wife now in Continental she was from Mobile, but I met her in Pensacola. And of course, I didn't marry her then, obviously, but later on in the years, I had met her and never really had anything to do with her, but we had met. She was the dirty white girl's sister, matter of fact.
Wow.
And so later on, by chance, I was actually calling Tony, and she answered the phone. She had been married, had a little girl, and she answered. I didn't know who it was, but I was calling for Tony, and she says, "Oh, this is Sandy." Says, "Tom, we got a conversation," and we just started doing the weekend getaways, and found that actually I liked her. I actually could have a conversation with her, and that was kind of new to me, because everybody else in wrestling, especially, it was like one night, okay, see you next, I don't know, 30 years from now, whatever it is. But my wife now, it was one of those things where if I wouldn't have gone to Continental Wrestling, if it wouldn't have been for wrestling, I wouldn't have met her. And so there's a lot of things I look back with that was so cool, very, very cool. At the same time, I wish I would have done a lot of things differently too. But you can't, so you got to accept it and be happy.
So what about Dr. Tom being your boss, Rip? You got any?
Yeah, well, he never told me to do anything or train somebody a certain way or anything. And I'd tell them guys every day, I said, look, you motherfuckers got to listen to what I'm telling you and filter out the other shit. I'm Sergeant Carter, and I'm preparing all you Gomer Piles to go to the Vietnam War. And I'm trying to keep you from getting your ass fucking shot. And if you can't, if I'm too much for you, when you go to goddamn Vietnam, you ain't got a chance.
Right. That's 100% right.
And I told them, I'm going to push every button to get you mad, sad, where you'll be, I'll show you, motherfucker.
Yes.
I will get good. I will lose weight. I will do this. I will master this shit. I said, oh, you're fucking all bullshit and fucking talk. Then they get real mad, right?
Yeah. Yeah. I do that to this day still. I do. And I explain. It does us no good as coaches to watch you fail. We want you to succeed. But sometimes, just doing the old, well, it's okay, Johnny. Maybe if you sit here for about an hour and get your breath, and then maybe we'll have some ho-hos together and we'll talk about this. No, get off your ass. Go to the gym. Pay attention. Learn your craft. Also, have respect for yourself and the business. Pay attention, just so you don't embarrass yourself or me. And the greatest thing in the world, I told somebody not too long ago about, you want my opinion? Here's my opinion. And then they got really upset and wanted to cry. And I said, dude, do it on your own then. If you got to be true to yourself, you go right ahead. But I'm going to tell you, it does me no good. It does our school no good. To watch people go out after training with us and do nothing. If you don't succeed, it's a reflection on me. So I took that personally, and sometimes I think we take it too personally when we look at somebody. When we look at somebody with promise or potential and they're wasting it because you just want to play ha-ha all the time, or they don't really want to apply themselves, I get a little bit upset. I do. It's in my heart. It's in my gut. So I can only teach the best I can. I'm not the greatest trainer in the world. I'll go as far as say that Rip Rogers is the greatest trainer in the world. I watch him train. I watch his explanations. And I'm telling you, man, dude, it is rough around the edges. At the same time, he does that headbutt. He grabs the chin and goes, boom. I thought, that's amazing. or he does a simple series and it winds up and it makes sense. Yeah. The steps make sense. And if you listen to them, if you follow the steps, you'll find success at the end of it. But you can't go, I'll follow step 1, 2, and 3, but 4, 5, and 6, I'll do it on my own. Oh, okay, but don't come back whining when you didn't follow the entire process. That's where I always messed up. I knew I had to go A, B, C, D. Oh, now it's getting a little sticky. Now it's getting a little hard. Yeah, I don't know that I really want to go that far. I mean, I know I need to, but I don't know that I really want to push myself that far. Oh, well, okay, it's up to you. But I've seen people who've done the 5, 6 or 4, 5, 6 and the rest of it. And I've seen people make it. So I know it works. I mean, we've got proof in the pudding too. I do know if we tell you this and you do that, you have a less chance of making it instead of going this way. We promise. Not doing it to hurt you. We're doing it to help you. That may not seem like that at the time. Same thing when your parents are saying, I'm doing this for your own good. It's going to hurt me more than it's going to hurt you. Nah, right. Well, it hurts me pretty much. Well, no.
I mean, that's the thing. Everybody that comes on this show, the Rip Train, they always, looking back, they understand it now way better than they understood it then, where he was coming from and all that kind of stuff. But as far as you being a trainer, I gotta throw this in here before we get off here. I'll let you plug some of your current stuff before we let you go. You spent so much time with us. It's been so great to sit down with you. But my old tag team partner, APOC, so you probably had him, I think, as Victor or Rick Victor in CW, or I know he thinks the world of you, thinks you're a great trainer. I was supposed to be in his wedding when the hurricane hit. So we've talked about you a couple times. I know that, he learned a lot from you and really appreciated everything you did for him when he was down in Florida with you.
Well, we had a match. We had a 60-minute Broadway. Did you tell you that?
I don't think so.
Oh my God. Well, we did drills in FCW. We had 3 rings in the back, 1 in the main arena. And Rick was working with, I don't know who, but he came out and said, "Get out of my way, old man." So I had a clipboard in my hand. I hit him over the back with it, broke the clipboard. Okay. So I said, yeah. So I said, all right, you and me, 60-minute Broadway. I'm gonna show you how to do this. Awesome. Oh yeah. Well, then as soon as I made it, I went, oh shit. Well, the guy, this was when Bill DeMott was already coming in, and the guys made a flyer. Ask Rick if he still has. I think he does. Still has a flyer. And so I committed to 60 minutes, and I went out there. We did a 60-minute Broadway. And he was awesome. But just to go out there and not knowing it, I didn't talk to him before the match either. And I don't know if he thought I was hot or not, but I was working him too. But I did a moonsault at the end of it where he moved. I did a go to sleep, a GTS in there too, just at the end of the match to play around, just to
get your shit in,
just to get my shit in, just to show him. I've never done a moonsault. Moonsault wasn't my thing, is my point. I just went up to show him, say, okay, if you're going to do it here at the end of the match. I did it with a minute. I mean, we had 1 minute left, set him up. He moved, did the GTS with like 15 move, kick out, whatever. So we built it that way. And I showed everybody. So, and I believe Rip would do things like that too. So, that's awesome. But yeah, there was some really good times, really great times, and awesome times too.
So you mentioned you had a podcast now. Tell us what you're doing today. Tell us about the podcast. Where can people find you?
Well, we're doing it every Wednesday night now. It's called Taking You to School with Dr. Tom Prichard. John Paz and I do it, and it's usually after I get back. Wednesdays is our promo class at JPWA. I get back about 9. We start a little after 9 on YouTube. You can find it as live. I think it's archived too, where I talk about OVW just this past week. And we also have JPWA, the Jacobs Prichard Wrestling Academy here in Knoxville, Tennessee. Glenn Jacobs, the Knox County mayor, about 4 years ago.
Kane, for all you people out there.
Kane, thank you. We were having lunch during the campaign, and at that time, my wife had worked at his insurance agency too. So we were talking. He said, why don't you and I open a school? We're both in Knoxville. It'd be great. I thought, well, Okay, I'd opened a school before it, and it's not that great. It's not that consistent, and you're dealing with Lemuels, and you're dealing with all these guys who, hey, what's your favorite kind of wrestling? Hardcore, barbed wire, cage wrestling. No.
Strong style.
Strong
Yeah,
stuff.
strong style. Good gosh. Okay. I mean, I understand the enthusiasm, but at the same time, once they get there, it's kind of a shock because we're actually doing reversals first, then we do the rolls, and the first time they take a back bump and I have to slap the mat, and they go, "Oh God!" I go, "Yeah." Anyway, so we're doing. This is our 4th year. We'll be ending our 4th year, and a lot of people didn't give us 6 months. But we've been going along in Knoxville. We've had people come from India, England, just had a kid from France, Canada, Switzerland, Michelle Green, the Swiss sensation, whatever she calls herself, all come over to train with us, which is awesome. And so it's a real cool setup. If anybody wants to know about our school, you can go to jpwrestlingacademy.com. Check it out. I also have a book, which I'd have to find out. Rip,
Get that book in here, man. Rip loves playing his book.
I have your book, Rip, as well.
All right.
Yeah. But I have a book. All right, there we go. Right here. It is called, and I made this intentional. Let me tell you how this came about real quick. I know we don't have a lot of time. But the WWE wanted a 1-year curriculum from start to finish, 1 year. I tried explaining it's not how it works. Right. I did that, dude. It was a struggle forever. Then finally they said, we want this done. I took 3 weeks and I put it together. It is called A Complete 1-Year Training Curriculum and Guide for Beginners and Seasoned Pros, a pro wrestling curriculum, advice, suggestions, and stories to help the aspiring pro get to the next level. You can also get this on our website at jpwrestlingacademy.com. So a lot of cool stories in there, a lot of some training ideas, some drills, and something I think you can use. And I read all of Rip's stuff too, the tweets and the quotes and things like that. They're still applicable today. They still, I truly believe the basics and fundamentals never go out of style. You ask any athlete of, especially at a high level, Larry Bird. I've got quotes from him on our wall about he wasn't a great high school player, but he learned the basics and fundamentals and the details when he got to college. As he put in the work. And you're not going to be successful in anything you do unless you do put in the work. Be a student of the game. Listen to everybody, take it in, filter it out. And as Rip said, I say, try a bunch of stuff and keep what works.
Yep.
It ain't rocket surgery. And by the way, 5 out of 4 people have a problem with math. So this is something you have to feel. You have to have fun with it. You got to enjoy it, but it is hard work. If you don't work hard, then nothing really is going to come of it. Right. You got to go to the gym. You got to look the part. You got to feel this. You got to think about it all the time. Promos, but also getting in the ring and learning how to work. I tell people this all the time. What we do in the ring is that much of the business. It's the outside the ring that really counts, and learning from the stories on the road, learning from the stories in practice, listening and watching other people, getting ideas. Stone Cold Steve Austin became Stone Cold because he was watching a documentary about a serial killer, and his wife said, drink your tea before it turns stone cold. Mm-hmm. Wow, 2 and 2. Let's see. Does it make 7? I'm not sure. But the point is, it computed with him. It made it resonated. And that's what you have to do. You got to find something that's authentic, that you relate to, and can communicate to other people. So anyway, that's what I got. We're teaching 5 days a week. I'm teaching 5 days a week. And while I do get frustrated sometimes because I think it should be a lot easier, and I think I make it clear when I really don't sometimes, but then I have to stop and have to realize, okay, I just have to make sure everybody gets it.
Hey, maybe next time you see Kane, you can give us a little plug. Maybe Kane can join our show next
Well,
time.
I would love to. I don't see him too much anymore because he's doing the mayor thing. He
Yeah.
has become one of the busiest guys. You know, he will come and sign the diplomas, and he will come to the graduation when he can. But man, Knox County and but politics in general is just bizarre right now. So he does have a pretty full schedule.
All right.
I'll see him Saturday. I'll see him Saturday at Bobby Fulton's.
Awesome. Yeah, great. Well then, hey, mention it to him because
Okay.
he probably would by all means.
Hey, when he was, I think he come from St. Louis or whatever that way.
He's from Missouri, not St. Louis, but in Missouri.
Okay,
Yeah.
so he went to WCW TV with me one time. So I had 4 guys in the car. So as a rib, I put him in the goddamn back seat, right?
Right.
And knowing his goddamn knees were up to his fucking nose and shit, and he never said a fucking word.
Right.
I'm waiting for him to say something. Go, hey, motherfucker, goddamn, I can't fucking move back here. What the fuck?
Yeah.
And he never said a word. He was just right there. I said, I can't believe it. I said, oh, okay.
Yeah. Well, I mean, but that's helped him throughout too, because he's grateful for I think everything he's got too.
Right. All right, Dr. Tom, it's awesome, man. Thanks for so much time today. You were on here forever. We loved it. It was awesome. We really appreciate your time.
Very cool. Anytime.
It just reminds me why I love the wrestling business, what it does. Because when you talk to guys, excuse me, your age or whatever, my age, you just get all these memories back.
Yeah, it ain't the same, Rip. And
Right.
I don't know if it can ever go back there because it was just such a different world, different time. But I get the same time every time I tell the story about Tracy, every time I think about the Olympic Auditorium or Portland, Oregon, there are those memories. And it's a shame that the generation today doesn't have that or the same, at least, opportunity to have those kind of memories. They have memories, but when they're in the locker room, it seems like they're on their phone texting and a little more distracted, as opposed to being able to tell stories with everybody in the locker room, stories on the way home, something that happened, something you heard, something you watched, and kind of share it, because that generates the buzz and it makes the connection all the way around.
I feel sorry for the guys that are in here today. They can't look, it's impossible to be any good. You don't practice. You don't have, they have one match a week, maybe.
Well, some of them.
Yeah. How can you be any good? You can't. It's impossible. We was working 7 days a week.
Yeah, that model doesn't exist anymore. That's the problem. But that's life, man. It's all good. And I thank you guys for having me on here, because it really does me good too, man. It brings up a lot of memories as well. So, Clint, thank you very much. And Rip, always thank you very much.
Just as usual, I hate everybody, so that's
you
okay.
I know you do.
Of course, you were always a good hater yourself.
I was.
Yeah.
I'm doing better.
Yeah. Big gold and a billfold, so swole that I can't get the shit closed. So I money fold and rubber band wrap, and when it pop, bitches sound like a hand clap.